To listen. Man, we have a lot of stuff going on in our nation today. That's just my regular opening, I think, from now on. I guess until a lot of things stop happening in our nation. So of course, we have the coronavirus issue. We have the insurrection issue, which, really haven't heard that much about lately. All those guys still locked up. Man, we really gotta, I think I'm going to digress for a moment. We really got to be wise about the things we buy into. I know this is my urban program, but this is really for everyone. We have to be wise. We can't be fooled, okay? We have to recognize that people are corrupt. And so we have to strive simply in and of ourselves not to be, okay? We need to be nice. We need to be good. We need to treat people like we want to be treated. I believe, I'm not Hindu, but I believe in karma, I maybe not to the extent that they believe it, even to the point of doing your duty and all that stuff. But I mean, what goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. Every culture has a particular variant of that particular saying because it's true. This is what everyone has experienced. Everyone. And so we have different ways of saying it, different languages that it comes in or whatever, but we all pretty much know that there is an end that usually meets unjust people and that there are positive things that come to just people. And I don't mean living forever. Nobody's gonna. There's one guy, he was kind of, a good guy, and his pops died, his father was dealing with cancer for like a decade and was battling it. Then the coronavirus hit and, he ended up dying from that because he was more susceptible to it, of course. And I'm like, we're all going to die. And I'm not saying that casually because my dad died like 20 years ago. My mother died 5 years ago this month, as a matter of fact. She was 96. And so, how long do you expect folks to live? So I don't mean being unreasonable like that, but I simply mean that in life, as you go through life, you do good happens, good things happen to you. You do bad things happen, man. As a young person, I didn't believe that. When I say young, I mean when I was still in high school. And I had my best friend, we were best friends, always hung out, practiced the martial art together. We even went in the military together. We were like 17, 18 years old. He would always live like that, No, you got to do good. Good always comes back. And I'm like, that isn't even logical. What's going to happen is going to happen. I was to say that a million times, but good things were always happening to him. Bad things were always happening to me. One day, later on in life, I think I was about 28 years old, I woke up, okay? And so that would alleviate a lot of the negativity that we have to deal with if we just start acting right, acting good, being good, just being nice, being kind. Somewhere, I think, through the politics, we've gotten this attitude about not wanting to be politically correct, and saying anything that we want to say, and people should just suck it up and take it. That is unless somebody says something to us. I remember these guys about a couple years ago were all against political correctness, and they were saying anything they wanted to say about anybody, and daring you to get mad because you should suck it up, snowflake and all that. And so I made a comment on social media to one of these guys and said, well, it was interesting how when those Iraqis on the anniversary of 9/11 were dancing on that roof, a lot of people got mad. Why was that? Now, it didn't really happen, but these guys got incensed because that was 9/11. Well, either you don't want to be politically correct or you do want to be politically correct, okay? You can't just be the things that are important to me you can't talk about. So if you don't want folks to be politically correct, don't get mad if Iraqis are celebrating about 9/11, okay? That's all I'm saying. And so I think if we just begin to treat people the way we want to be treated, and really sensibly understand that that we don't have the same values. So I might value this more than you value that. You might value that more than I value this. So I got to be responsive to what is valuable to you, and you have to be responsive to what is valuable to me. Just treat people the way you want to be treated, and it would be fine. Anyway, we kind of got off on that, but I guess I guess what we're looking at today is having good sense and bringing on the right results. And so we're looking at the news today. So we have the politics going on, and those guys that are still facing, issues with the judge, because those things don't go away. And that was really the point of being sensible, is that in life, because you make a mistake, like those guys charging the Capitol, okay, back in January. Now we're off on the coronavirus. Now we're talking about Afghanistan, Haiti, talking about politics, the infrastructure, the relationship with other countries, climate. We're talking about all these other things, and you still stuck having to face a federal judge over something you did back in January, see? And even why you did it. The folks that encouraged you, they're not facing anything. And can you really blame it on the folks that encouraged you? Or were you just not really thinking rationally? I mean, I'm listening to guys talk about, one of the political parties is trafficking in children. And come on. I remember talking to this one guy, a business owner, before the election, that if the Democrats win, we're going to be a socialist nation. I mean, come on. He was older than me. I'll be 63 this year. And I'm like, come on. I joined the military when I was 17. I was under presidents from different parties. You were never socialist. And if you live right and work and take care of your business, you're not even affected by whatever party is in office. For real. And so I was trying to explain that to him, that we can't just do wrong and think we're not going to have to pay for it. And it's just unfortunate when we do wrong, have to pay for it, and the entire nation and world is moving on to other things, and we're still having to pay for something we did that nobody is even focusing on right now. Okay? And so it's not just that thing with the insurrection, it's everything in life. Sometimes, like cigarettes, smoke. Come on now. It's a fact that it's harmful for you. The vaping, all this. So we're still smoking. We're taking all this stuff in. And then we end up with lung issues. And 1 year later, the whole world is moving on to all kinds of different things, and you're still dealing with your lung issues for something that you did that just wasn't wise. We need to be wise. Okay? And so now we're looking at, in addition to all this other stuff, this coronavirus thing, this Delta variant. Now they're talking about even another variant is about to come up, And then you have people that are taking the vaccines and people that don't want to take the vaccines. And they're all ragging on each other. And I'm like, I'm pretty much a healthy person. And I've been, on this program, on cable, on social media. I've always been out there, encouraging people to exercise. Remember the 3-month challenge and the 6-month challenge, to exercise every day and to eat right and all that stuff. Now because that is what strengthens your immunity. That's how we're immune against certain things. Even these viruses, even the coronavirus. If your immune system is functioning properly. Because even the lung issues that you have, the swelling and all that stuff that goes on with the coronavirus with people that are its victims, that is the immune system trying to fight the virus. That's why you need the ventilator. It's not like it's causing you to go through these lung problems. This is your immune system trying the best it can to fight the coronavirus, and this is the response. So sort of like when you get a cut or something and it swells, or you get an infection and it swells or whatever. That's your body trying to fight it off, the infection, by swelling. Your lungs the same. But you have individuals that are not healthy enough, and so they just can't come through, and they are dying by the very thing that's attempting to save them. And so if you're not, if you're unhealthy, you really need to get that vaccination. And if you're choosing not to get the vaccination, don't just choose it because you're stubborn and you don't believe in vaccinations. You better be very, very healthy. Your immune system better be functioning. So I don't really take issue with folks that are not taking the vaccination if they're very healthy. But just somebody that's just being stubborn about not wanting to take the vaccination, that's kind of dumb. This stuff is real. And if your body isn't functioning pristine, top notch, if you haven't been exercising for years and years and years, if you haven't been eating right for years and years and years, you better take that vaccine. Don't just be stubborn. Don't be stubborn. Because see, what you're having is most of the people that actually fall ill and die from this coronavirus are old folks. Or folks. And the reason they're old folks isn't because of a chronological number, their age. It's because it's a pretty much a fact in society that when you're this particular age, you're in this particular health. That's why the younger the people are, they're not catching this virus, because they're healthy, simply because their bodies are newer. Okay? Now we do have the virus affecting younger people, but you know we're in a nation of obese kids, unhealthy kids. So even being young isn't a guarantee of not getting sick if you're not healthy. And being older isn't a guarantee of being sick if you are healthy, but most people are not healthy. So I'm just saying, I'm not ragging on you, whichever way you go. Just make sure you know what you're doing and you're not just being stubborn, okay? And that's because you have to win. See, that's the way I live I have to win. No matter what I put my hand to, no matter what I'm doing, I have to win. And to win, you can't fake it. I was telling somebody recently, so some of y'all know I earned that MBA. I went to college when I was 50. I had a high school diploma. 10 years later, I had an MBA. You can't fake it, okay? I practiced the martial art for a lot of years, and I fought in many tournaments. You can't fake it. There are certain things you can't fake, okay? And this coronavirus is something else. If you're not healthy, you can't fake that either. So I'm saying through life, you can always be victorious, and that is my motto. Whatever I put my hand to do, I tell my family, whatever I want to do, I can do. I'm not talking about flying, something that's physically impossible. I'm talking about things that are attainable, but most people can't do. I can do. Back in the day, in things that weren't quite good. But in these days, whatever I put my hand to do, I can do. Because I will figure out how to accomplish it. It may not be traditional. It may not be like everybody else. But I'll figure it out. If I have a need, if I have a desire, something that has to be met, something that has to be accomplished, I'll do it. But you got to figure it out, okay? That's why I take issue with some of these elections, especially the recent one. People getting mad over not winning. And I was on Instagram. There was a particular little video about this guy doing some moves, with a sword. He was real healthy, and he was flipping around, flying around, and it was really cool. You could tell he was fit. And they were ragging on him. Well, that wouldn't work in a fight. The dude wasn't fighting anybody. But I'm talking to these guys, this one guy, and I'm trying to explain, you can't use push-ups in a fight, but they're effective in preparing you for a fight, okay? And then they got mad, and one guy started, and you probably voted for Biden. I don't know where that went to, over here, but he started, and then I said, well, I said, this is, it's one thing to have a fight. Especially about martial artists, we should know this. Now, I was a martial artist in the 70s and 80s and part of the 90s. So the 2000, martial artists, I'm not familiar with. But back in the day, you win fights and you lose fights. I fought in many fights. I probably fought 1,000 fights, and I probably lost half of them. And I won half of them. And the ones I lost, you didn't really win. I didn't go there. Now, there was one tournament I fought in, I was cheated, but I didn't say a word. I was really disappointed. But the fact is, if you're in a legitimate fight and you lose, then you say, okay, if you want to fight again, you figure out why you lost. Well, maybe I need to work on this. Maybe I need to work on that. Or whatever. But you don't, well, you didn't I didn't lose. You lost. You cheated. You don't go all like that. But these are martial artists. These are modern day martial artists, that are all into the political thing. And, no, man, no. If you lose, just figure out how you lost, work on it, and then come back and win. In every generation. I want to say that we all need to just be stronger. Suck it up, be strong, figure it out. That's what I tell my kids, figure it out. And I don't tell them anything that I can't do. When I tell my kids to figure something out, I already have it in my mind, figure out how they can figure it out. I don't just say figure it out just to get me out of there. No, figure it out, but I know how you can figure it out. I can tell you if you want me to. some things like exercise or sports or whatever, you know, it was imperative my children participate in sports. But if you don't, I got a sport for you. Okay? And basically it's the martial art. It was always, you can do the martial art unless you find other sports you want to do. My son ended up baseball and track. You know, he found other sports. And my daughter did basketball and my daughter did the same. And now she's playing lacrosse. But I started her in the martial art in kindergarten. And then about the second grade, she wanted to go into track. Then she wanted to play basketball. Then she wanted to play basketball at her new school. Then she wanted to play soccer. And now she's been in lacrosse for like the past 5 years or so. So figure it out. And I'll help you if you need figuring out. But if not, just figure it out yourself. Everything, you can figure it out, man. No matter how unattainable it might seem, you can figure it out. And now with Google at your fingertips, man, that's almost like a device that you can't lose. But you have to be determined. Okay, you can't be distracted. You know, as many of you know, I'm into meditation. Meditation is very good for realizing who you are, who you really are. You know, focusing on that consciousness, that awareness part of you. And in that meditation time, you begin to get insight and understanding of the things that you need to do to make your life better. You begin thinking about things. Things begin to cross your mind. And that you begin to strengthen that consciousness part of you that's in charge of this body, and you begin making better decisions, better choices. And so it's I am a prime believer that you do need to meditate. You do need that quiet time, away from all the distractions, away from all the things that keep you from thinking and trying to come up with a rational understanding, insight, and set of choices, set of choices to make to get to where you need to be. And it's very important. I think a lot of times, especially in our communities, we're so bogged down with bad habits. You know, the things we drink, the things we smoke, the things, you know, we're fighting to have weed legalized. We want alcohol. We're alcoholics, and we eat too much. We eat the wrong kind of foods. We're all out of shape. We're all unhealthy. And again, here was that coronavirus again, and whatever else is down the pike. But we simply need to get ourselves in shape for the sake of just being healthy, of living longer. I mean, nothing worse in the world than a parent to have to be sick early and have their kids put their lives on hold simply to take care of that parent. And I know things happen, but I'm saying sicknesses that are brought on by the decisions, by the actions of that parent to end up sabotaging their health, and then their children having to take chunks out of their lives to take care of them. No, we need to start while you're younger. And even if you are older, start making wise choices in the things that you eat, in your exercise, all the things that you're about. Get your life together. Get yourself together. Education the same. Education for the sake of the knowledge is in itself the reward. Knowledge, man, changes your worldview, changes your insight. Understanding will change a lot of the decisions you make and the thoughts that you have. And when you couple that knowledge with wisdom, man, you can do anything. Okay, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start where you're at and begin identifying the negatives in your life that are gone. You're not going to get educated if you're high and drunk all the time. You're not going to be making wise investments if you're living in your mama's basement. You're not going to be promoting through your job if you're not showing up to work at all. You know, if you're not doing a good job, or if you're getting smart or negative, you know, with your coworkers and your supervisors. And what I'm suggesting that is in meditation, you begin to see these things. You begin to get in tune with who you really are. And you begin to recognize the values that you must embrace, that you're going to want to embrace. And they'll make your life better. And so, I know I've talked your ear off, but I'm just sharing with you. You can be well. No matter what the situation that's facing everyone else in this world, whatever the situation's facing folks in this nation, no matter what political party is in charge, you can be well. Your health, your education, your finances, everything about you can be well. It's all about making right choices. Recognizing the concept of sowing and reaping is real. Karma. And understanding that if you have that quiet time, your mind will help you determine the things that you need to put aside and the things that you need to embrace. Because I'll tell you what, if you want to be really successful in getting rid of bad habits, you must also have a good habit to substitute for it. If not, you're always going to go running back to that bad habit. Very important. And many of those are being accentuated or being enhanced or exaggerated by your flesh. And so unless you recognize who you really are, you are victim to, or you are subject to, the desires of your flesh, the desires of your mind, the things that you think you want, the things that you think you desire. You are victim to that. And so the freedom to begin to rid yourself of the loneliness, rid yourself of the unhappiness, rid yourself of all those negative, oppressive feelings, you have to know who you are, okay? And see, when you don't, that's why weed is so popular. That's why alcohol is so popular. That's why drug use is so popular. That's why illicit multi-relationships are so popular, because these things give you a pseudo-contentment. Hiding the fact that you are really unfulfilled, okay? But recognize 100% of your unfulfilled feelings are a result of you not recognizing who you really are and what you are connected to, okay? And really that's it, okay? Because still you are functioning with this body. Don't get me wrong. There are some people that just, just try to stay out of it and neglect the body. And that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm suggesting is that you have this body that requires certain things so that it operates at its ultimate, okay? Just like you have a car, you have certain oil, you have certain fuels, certain things, that additives that you do to this car to tend to it to make sure that it runs pristine, okay? So we have these bodies. There are things that we can do. The problem is when we don't really, when the mechanism that is actually guiding us in how to treat these bodies is not aware of its disconnect to the body, it simply responds by satisfying what the body desires it has, and what the body has convinced the mind. The mind is based on experiences, things that you see, things that might seem to tempt you into, whatever, and then the body, chimes right in and you're a victim to it. That's why we're an obese nation. That's why diabetes is so prevalent. That's why high cholesterol, heart disease, heart issues. I mean, why are people still smoking? So what I'm saying is the condition that we're in today is because we are listening to our bodies and listening to our minds that have been affected by our bodies as well, influenced by our bodies, and vice versa. And we're not doing what's best for these bodies. So I'm suggesting the most time-consuming part of prayer should be listening and not speaking. And you'll begin to hear the things and understand and know the things that you're supposed to. And now, while you're on this path, okay, we're getting out of this illness, okay? Now, while you're on this path, you begin even in that quiet time considering the destructive habits of your life, okay? The destructive habits that you've subjected this body that is in your charge to, and you determine you need to stop. I mean, come on. And this part is really simple. Because now you're not dealing with that invisible part of who you really are, but that's the part that's actually considering what you need to do for this body. Why are you smoking cigarettes? Why are you drinking alcohol? Why are you overeating? Why are you not eating the proper foods? Why are you not getting enough sleep? That's me. Why? All these things, why? You'll be considering these. And not just considering, you'll be considering, well, what can I do? There's any bad habit that you have. Now this isn't the research. This is me talking to you now. From experience, okay? Because I had a whole bunch of them. Any bad habit that you have can be substituted with something good, okay? So I'm like, if you're eating the wrong kind of foods, eat the right kind of foods. Get on Google. Come on. I ate a whole bunch of grapes. I ate apples. I ate bananas. I ate prunes. I ate cheese and eggs for protein. And I eat certain kinds of good, like chicken and turkey and things like that. I mean, what I'm saying is that's just for me because of my taste. But it's easy to find out what good foods to substitute for the way you've been living your life. Non-exercise? Exercise. Okay? Even if it's walking. The neighborhood. So what you must do is substitute. So now you're sitting here, maybe you're divorced and lonely, or Maybe you haven't been married and you're lonely and wanting to get married like everybody else. But even all these things you're wanting, it's your flesh. It's not the real you. The real you is simply consciousness. So what I would suggest, now check this out. I mean, I was like single for a while. And now I wasn't doing this for the sake of, but in retrospect, I realized what was keeping me in the midst of. So I wasn't married. And you're getting older, yeah, I'm getting older. And then, but there was a ministry. There was an opportunity to busting kids from Parkside, from DeSoto Bass, and so I ended up helping young people. So I was something in their lives. Then the Juvenile Detention Center ministry. Every week for 17 years, missing 4 weeks in 17 years, I was there doing my best, putting into their lives what I felt they needed: love and help and hope and encouragement and all that good stuff. What do you think I was reaping back? The concept of sowing and reaping. So you could substitute not simply a bad habit, but even a bad mindset of something that you desire, okay? So it's easy to substitute the food thing, okay? I'm going to stop eating French fries at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to start eating grapes or something. That's easy, okay? But then when you're talking about relationships, I desire not to be lonely. I desire someone to be in my life. I'm getting older and I'm not married. Whatever's going on in your mind. And since I can't really go get somebody to balance that out, why don't I go give somebody something who is also lacking in these type areas? So I can go to juvenile detention. And so I'm lacking love, so I can sow love into their life. I'm lacking direction, into appropriating the things that I need in my life. So I'll share with them how to appropriate the direction to appropriate the things that they want in their lives, that they need in their lives. So I'm sowing into someone else's life what they need. I'll be reaping in my life what I need, okay? And so that will satisfy. Come on now, if you're lonely, for me, okay? I mean, I wasn't lonely, but maybe I could have been. But I knew that every week, every Sunday, I was going to be at juvenile detention. And I'm excited about that. And so I never went in there with nothing. So I would spend the week preparing what I'm going to talk to these young people about. So there was not really the time to be just sitting around realizing how lonely I am, because I'm on a mission, because Sunday is getting closer and closer and closer. And when I first started doing this stuff, man, I mean, I wasn't too good at talking to people. I would just write down all the things that I think. I might have like 8 pages, and I would spend 2 days trying to actually memorize word for word everything on those 8 pages, okay? So that took up a lot of my time. Now I can just know bullet points and do that. But the point is, the loneliness is a result of desiring and longing for something to fulfill you. But so when you're taking that time to begin preparing to help someone else who was lonely, who was forlorn, rejected, you don't have time to be sitting around thinking about, how you're all alone and all that. And besides that, the concept of sowing and reaping. So I don't even know how many years I was into that ministry before I met the woman that I was to marry one day. And through that union, a child was born, family, and all this stuff. And I've, been living this life for the last 23 years. But I'm telling you, there is just sitting around feeling bad about it. Then you end up making mistakes. Then you go out with somebody, and then you go where you don't want to go, and now you're messed up even more because you're feeding the wrong part, the part that's not you, but this part that is affecting who you are, okay? Because this is the body that you've been given charge over. So I mean, I said a whole lot here, but I think you kind of understand the concept. Recognize who you are, really. This is not you. You can't, you are the consciousness, you are the awareness. All the desires and things that you want, that ain't you either. Well, it is kind of you until you change it. And then spend every day quiet time listening, man. I started with my daughter, we started it, we pray, and then we'll just be quiet, meditate for 5 minutes. Then the next month, It'll be 10 minutes every day. Next month it'll be 15. Just build like that. And if nobody's in like your child, you do this. This is what I do with myself, but I realized it was necessary for my child. And what I'm suggesting is how necessary it is. So we have more going on than simply ourselves. But until we get ourselves together, you know how they say on the airplane, you know, the mask will come down, make sure your mask is secure before you. You're not ready to help anybody if you're not well. You don't even know who you are. Okay? Now I want to share one more thing with you, okay? Because your entire wellness and peace and happiness in life revolves, demands that you know who you are and you respond accordingly. Our lifestyle is going to adjust. We're going to have favor. And I want to tell you this. I've been married now for 23 years. And I knew my wife, we were like friends for like 7 years before we got married. But I'll tell you how I noticed her. I went to this church and I saw this woman and her friend, and I observed her for like a couple of years, even while I was doing these ministries, you know, with the DeSoto Bass, the Parkside, in the juvenile detention. This woman really conducted herself with integrity. And it was like you couldn't not like this person and eventually love this person. But so I'm saying is that what we're trying to attract, and we're forlorn and dejected, if you were simply get yourself together, you would give out that aura, that vibe that is attractive. That this is a good person that has themselves together. For a man to find a woman is a good thing. And for a woman to find a man is a good thing. We know that. But for a woman to find a good man is what's good. And for a man to find a good, you got to find a good person. Just to find a woman isn't a good thing. Just to find a wife isn't a good thing. Just to find a husband isn't a good thing if they're the wrong one or if you're not acting right. So instead of looking for the person, how much have you prepared yourself to be a gift for that individual that will one day be in your life? I mean, come on. I think a lot of times we spend so much time just waiting for that man. We are not preparing ourselves. We're not getting well. We haven't kicked these habits. We're not in pristine condition, pristine shape. We're not exercised. We're not even listening in prayer. We're just praying, God send me a man, God send me a woman. We're not listening. Because if we could hear, we'd hear that we ain't ready.